Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. I
Yeah,
usually don't come on Sunday, but I really wanted to talk about the Tyre Nichols case. And Terry, I forgot to put a thumbnail up.
yeah. Well, and don't
I
forget to
just
pay.
hopped on. I don't have no makeup on. This is a hot mess.
It's a lot of things you forgot. You forgot
I-
it's playoff Sunday. No, but one thing that
Are you
since
serious?
since you don't took me away from it, don't forget to
You
pay the
should have
bills.
told me, Perry. I didn't know.
Don't forget to pay the bills.
Okay. All right.
All that,
Let me pay the bills and then I'll get to apologizing to Perry. I forgot. Today is playoff Sunday.
of course.
Anyway, okay, guys, today's video is sponsored by Fetch. Rewards is a super easy to use app where you earn free rewards on literally anything you buy. Scan any receipt or e receipt into the app to earn points, no matter where you shop or what you buy. And I literally mean any receipt. I recently took a few trips to a couple of retail stores. All I have to do to be rewarded is use the app on my phone to scan my receipts. And just seconds later, you receive your points into your account. It's really that easy. Anything you buy works with Fetch. Even if you have receipts that are up to 2 weeks old, you can still earn points. And if you shop with online retailers such as Amazon, it's even easier. You could have the app scan through your emails for e receipts and it will submit them for you. You can then redeem those points for hundreds of different rewards, including Amazon and Visa gift cards. Fetch is easy and fast and 100% free. Fetch is even giving away bonus rewards to my viewers. All you need to do is download the Fetch Rewards app and use the code Sharrell when you scan your first receipt, and Fetch will reward you with 5,000 points. It's really that simple. So, once again, thank you to Fetch for sponsoring this video. Okay, there
Yeah.
you go.
All right.
Uh, okay, guys, we're just going to talk about two stories today because the third story I decided to scrap at the last minute, the one about the missing children. Um, that needs to be a whole video in itself. Okay, you guys know that we take on the tough subjects here. That's what we do. We have a adult conversation, and um, everybody's allowed to their own opinion. So I wanted to talk about my video that went viral Friday. Did I do it Friday? Yeah, because I took Saturday off. Friday about bringing Larry Reid on the show. And then after that, we're going to talk about the even more touchy subject of Tyre Nichols. Ugh. Every time I think about that video, I should have never watched it. But anyway, so let's start with Tasha K. Star Guy says, "You and Perry are the only show I never miss." Oh, thank you. Sending my love from London.
Yeah.
Wow,
Thank you.
thank you so much. I appreciate that. This is kickback day. This is different than a regular day. Um, but let's talk about the video that went viral. Listen, I was on everybody's mind on Friday and Saturday. That video went viral. It had bloggers, other call-in shows. It went really, really viral. So I'm going to tell you what I think about it. Um, for me, it's a very, very touchy subject. And let me tell you why it's a touchy subject. And I think Tasha, this is why she picked this subject. I think one of the worst things could happen to you in the world is being physically violated.
Mm-hmm.
Not just women, men too.
Right.
Okay? 'Cause men have a tendency not to talk about their violations, but I've never been violated. So I'm talking as an outsider. I've never been violated, but I've seen the damage that it does to people. And anybody that does that needs to be put away for life, if you ask me. So I'm very, I need to be very careful with my words because it's not like I don't know what that does to people. But there's two sides to this, okay? And let me talk about blogging first of all. Blogging is a dirty, business. I think I've said this before a million times. It's dirty. The actual job itself is not hard. You just get on here and state your opinion and talk about the stories that inspire you and cover shows that you like and stuff like that. It seems very easy on paper. But I think because you make so much money, why is this so dirty? Why are people so cutthroat about it, Perry? What do you think?
No, I just think that like it's an easy business to get to. You can do it from your home. You can do it after
Yeah,
working an
that's
8-hour shift. And I think when people get into it, they're like, oh yeah, I can do this and make all this money, and I can get rid of the 9 to 5. So that's when the cutthroat come in, and then people size you up by looking at you and say, oh well, if that girl with the wig on can do it, anybody can do it, right? But they'll go out there and then when it don't work, when it don't work, when the shit don't work to their favor,
uh-huh.
when they ain't seeing money in months, they trying to get there faster. So they want to start instead of making they want to start trying to find ways to tear you down, thinking that's going to bring them further up on top of the ladder. That's what I think. And I think it's just become a doggy dog business.
That's it. That's exactly right. So that's what we deal with. So listen, I've said this before. I had money before I started doing YouTube. It's Perry had money. Perry is self-made. That's no secret. Perry doesn't work because he don't have to work. But he worked hard to get himself there. And a lot of times people see money and you become a target. It sounds crazy. Like, what are you talking about, Sharrell? You become a target. I had so many people put frivolous lawsuits on me for no damn reason. And at first I wasn't understanding because I never thought about it. Because remember, I'm a housewife. I don't really work. If you befriend me because of the things I have, I don't see that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I've had people say, stop being so gullible, Sharrell. I don't see it. It's nothing that I strive for. I'm not in that mode. Thank God. Because, some people are in that mode and you become a target. And I don't know if you guys remember this, like a lot of my lawsuits were because of John Yates. But when they realized he didn't have any money, it went to Sharrell. Am I
Right.
lying, Perry? A lot of
No,
those lawsuits were
that's true.
John Yates. He was the one pissing people off, not me, but he didn't have a dime for them to get, and they all turned their attention on me. I had people just make me targets. So you got that, okay? So when the higher your numbers are, the more money people think you make, the more you become a target. Also, people want what you have. They want what you have. And I see this in Larry Reid. Larry Reid is rich. Larry Reid has a TV show. Larry Reid has a congregation, a successful congregation. He's already winning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen Tasha K lie before. We all seen Tasha K lie before. She admits that she's a bona fide liar. So from the evidence that I've seen, I think he's being set up. And he's being set up by a established con artist. We've seen her go after people. And it's not a coincidence that all the big bloggers are saying, oh no, that's Tasha K. Because we know what she's like behind the scenes. I've known her to get people's YouTube channel shut down. I've known her to come after people if they don't interview her. She's not, and that's how she chooses to run her business. Listen, you could be hardcore with it, a snake with it. And no, we can't move on, Tina. You can always exit, Trina. Exit. Here, let me help you. Because I don't have time for the nonsense. I should have put it on. I'm doing something else while I talk. I've seen this happen. And so I think he's being set up again. Also, this afternoon, we're going to have people that are friends with the boys go over to Conscious TV's channel and talk about how these people are and why they do what they do. But anyway, with that being said, I don't think Larry Reid should sue Tasha K. I don't. You've already won. she's coming after you for the things that you got. She needed you for that reality TV show. I think people are going to believe what they're going to believe. Some people, because this is such a delicate subject, they see their accusers. They see the people that harm them. They don't see this one specific case. Especially so, a good friend of mine has been violated in the worst kind of way, in every kind of way, emmed, ard, and she doesn't. When it comes to this case, she doesn't separate herself like, okay, this is a different situation. She says men. She hates men. She hates men. She thinks all men are bad. She's come out publicly and said black men, all they do is take advantage of women. That's not true, but I can't tell her that's not true because it's a defense mechanism when you are violated like that. You just think everybody's your predator that happened to you. I never had that happen to me. The men in my life have been good to me. Perry, you are a great husband. You've always taken care of me. My father always taken care of me. Like I have men all around me, and I don't hate every man. I can't judge her for hating men because I might feel the same way. You know what I'm saying?
Right. If you was in that predicament, right.
If I was in that predicament. So she doesn't see, and she's had a problem with Tasha K herself. Tasha K has annihilated her, but she just sees men. Because really, and sometimes I'm talking to her, and it's like she gets flashbacks, and she'll just go into a rage. Not even about this case. We could just be talking about something else, and she might see a man that reminds her of what happened to her, and it's just sad. But it makes it where she can't judge cases on an individual level. She thinks all black men are bad, and that's just what she thinks. And a lot of accusers, yeah, it's PTSD. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. When that happens to you, you develop PTSD. So I'm saying to Larry, if you go to court, people are already set in their decisions. You already listen. Your job doesn't think you did that. You're steady going to be on TV. You're steady going to be interviewing people. Your church has surrounded you. All you're doing at this point is wasting money. If I did sue Tasha K, what I would do is wait. I let this die down. Let people argue and say what they're going to say. I would wait. And then I would get her when Cardi B gets her. That's when I would do it. Because Cardi B ain't forgot, and she's not stopping. Another thing people don't know about Tasha K is she has a very bad reputation behind the scenes. Producers don't want to work with her. Magazines don't want to interview her because they know what's going on. And that's another thing I don't do. So I run my business different. You can be dirty. You can make up lies on people. We've known other bloggers to do it, but it's not your responsibility to make sure they pay for what they're doing. That's up to the man up above. That's how I look at it. I don't vow to make somebody pay. I don't. Because I really am a firm believer in what comes around goes around. So if I do people dirty, and we all know there's another blogger out there besides Tasha K that would make up stories on people, destroy these people's lives, the celebrities' lives, just make up lies. And then one day out the blue, the tiniest thing happened and she was done. She was done. That was God. Because usually people won't get destroyed over that. Sue or not is driven by gut and God. We don't really have a say, y'all. That's what I'm saying. So Larry, Tasha K is going to get what's coming to her, and you're not going to have nothing to do with that. It's going to be between her and her God. You can't live life wrong. You can't. It always comes back to haunt you.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand how he feels. You get so mad, like, why is this person doing this to me?
Right.
And you want to go and tell everybody. So that's why you go to this blog and that blog, and they'll say, look, he's on a promo tour. There's one thing you can't change, Larry, is what people think of you.
And that's a fact.
But notice this, the people that matter are saying, there she goes again. Let her do what she
Right,
did.
right.
They would have fired him if they thought he did something bad. But she's really has a bad reputation behind the scenes. Like, I remember somebody wanted to interview her on TV and the network shut it down. Because when we do these videos, when you get to a certain amount of subscribers, you don't know who's watching. I
Right.
tell you, every time I do a video, the person I do the video about watches it. Producers watch it. Publicists watch it. Like, that's part of their business. So they know what's going on. They know what's going on. Like, if I get in a big fight with another blogger that's covering housewives, they know, they watch it. I've had people come to me and say, oh yeah, I seen it when you were going at it with John Yates. And I'm like, oh no. People watch and they develop their opinions. She really has a bad reputation behind the scenes. When somebody sues you and you lose for $4 million, everybody was watching that lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was Larry, I would let it go.
I think so
I
too.
would let people. He's a pervert. Okay, I wouldn't do it. I would just leave it alone. And I haven't even told him this yet. I'm gonna call him later and say, "Don't waste your money."
I think so too, Sharrell. I mean, look, the whole thing with this, we all human. We got this human side. Like when you feel like you're being attacked, you feel like you need to fight back.
Yeah.
Certain things you can come out and speak your mind, say it, but even with that, you can't keep going to do it because then people will say, "Oh, you out here trying to pay off all the bloggers. You out here trying to hit everything to prove you're innocent." Well, he should be innocent until proven guilty.
Mhm.
See, that's the part you get to remember. And the emotion side, you'll say, "Well, hey, with these people, you should sue them." I mean, at the same time, I get that emotional side. But when you start paying for something, and even if, and basically suing it take 2 or 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna go through this whole thing. And now you actually paying help, or basically you helping this person that you suing
Mm-hmm.
over the next 3 years have money because you're giving them something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being sued. I'm being sued. Yes, some people take pride in saying, well, I'm being sued because they want their name to be out there some kind of way.
That's another thing. This is another reason you shouldn't sue Tasha K, because then you have all of these bloggers trying to latch on for clicks and views. They don't give a damn what's going on. They
Nope.
get dramatic with. I've seen something. Larry Reid, like they get dramatic. They try to build their numbers off of it. Let it go. Let them make their money. They're going to do what they're going to do. But you have to remember, for each individual in life, we're all responsible for our own lives. And if you make bad choices, if you become a clout chaser, if you ruin somebody's life, put lies on them, you will pay the price from a higher power. I learned that a long time ago. I used to get really mad at people and say, I'm gonna get them back. They wronged me so bad. No, they are who they are. Leave them to deal with their own God.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, Sherelle, on either side of that coin, people either gonna believe you off your
Or they're
word or
not.
your actions, or
Mhm.
they not gonna believe you. But at the same time, I mean, you can, that goes with lawsuits, social media, or off social media. At your job, it's gonna be people who like you, don't like you, not believe you, believe you, right? At a certain time, for me, looking at our experiences, I probably wouldn't sue
Nah, he
because
already went. Listen, Tasha K couldn't get that reality show if she paid somebody. They don't like her. And that's why me and Perry, like, I treat people different. I treat people the way I want to be treated. And you guys say, well, a lot of people run over you a lot. Well, maybe so. But when they do that, they're shooting themselves in the foot. So if you treat somebody right and they dog you anyway,
Mhm.
That's on
No.
them.
Yeah, I agree.
People say you help too many people, you put on too many people. That's just who I am. So I can't turn bitter because I was dogged by one person.
Right.
I can't, and some people don't get that. I can't be mad at the world because of one asshole. So it's this is a deep situation. But Tasha K one day is going to pay the price for doing people wrong. You just don't do that. And the things that she's doing, saying that you're molesting children. What else did she do? Getting people's channels shut down, striking people, making up lies. You will pay the price for that
Yeah.
one day. So if I were you, Larry, I would just let it go. The people who believe you, believe you. The people who don't. And
Well,
that's their choice.
that's probably
And
like
live your life.
exactly because getting tied up in a lawsuit for 2 or 3 years,
Mhm.
you're gonna bury this stress and financial stress over the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, why do it? Either people are gonna believe you, not believe you, but if somebody really truly wanted to prosecute you, they would do it in a court of law on record,
Mhm.
not just out here hearsay. I mean, because you know what? I don't even blame people. Well, I may get upset when they go, well, he's guilty for this and that. I mean, you have the right to your own opinion, like I have mine, but don't get mad at me because I have an opinion. But when I simply say, well, when we start debating over your why you think this, when you can't show me a receipt, that's our debate. Is it a receipt? Is it not a receipt? But at the end of the day, I probably wouldn't waste no more time if I was Larry at this point. And this is my thought this morning, Sunday morning
Mhm.
here in Vegas, is I would say, hey, I'm not going back out here to speak on it again
Yeah.
because once you give a response,
Mhm.
you open up the doors for everybody else to respond to your response
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
try to force you to come back out. It would never die down because really, this situation is not between Larry Reid and all the bloggers at this point. It should be him and the accuser. So if the
Yeah.
accuser
Yeah.
really
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if the accuser really
Mhm.
wanted to
Mhm.
seek justice, hashtag justice for whoever, then you would go the proper route. You're not a 5-year-old. And I mean, you're smart enough to know you can go and file charges and just do it that way. But people want to make a mockery out of this thing and then tarnish somebody's reputation
Mhm. Mhm.
over hearsay. And
Mhm.
that shit do not change. Look at
Mhm.
Michael Jackson.
That's right. I'm comparing the Larry Reid situation to the Michael Jackson situation. There are some people now will call him a emmer for even after death. He hurts children. He hurts children. Nobody focused in on the publishing rights and the Tommy Mottola war that they had going on. People believe what they believe, and you can't change it. But you have a good life, Larry. Don't waste it on that nonsense. The people that are going to support you are going to support you. What you're doing now is being helping other bloggers build up their channels, and they get dramatic with it. Oh my God, they get so dramatic. Let them. Don't forget who turned on you, but leave them alone. Let them run. Listen, people I don't even know make videos about me every day just so my name could be in their title. And it took me a long time. Perry and V had to teach me this. Let people do what they're gonna do. I can't control that. You want to do video about Sharrell, so you can get out there. Those channels don't last. Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
Drama
I know.
channels do not last because you're it for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, people say, okay,
Right. No, I get it.
I don't
When there's
have
no
time for
drama,
this.
then you have to make up some.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
So
that's how I go. But
that's
then
how I
I'll say this.
feel.
Sure, but let me say this real fast too, though.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people would come with this thing and they'll say, well, this person did this because of this, because of his sexuality. Look, we all adults. I'm not gonna come out here and put nobody on the cross for whatever their sexuality might be,
No.
right?
Mhm.
But these same people will use that and like, if you don't want to follow this person because of your belief, don't. But I'm not gonna come on here and come at somebody and say, well, his sexuality. We don't know. And could be not
Nobody,
be, right?
nobody should be nailed to the cross because of their sexuality. That's just
Right.
ridiculous.
But this is what I want to say about this though.
Mhm.
These same people, if people came out and said this person did this because of their sexuality, then you would be homophobic. Why ain't these people being held to the same thing? Because they're not coming with receipts. They want to say what his sexual preference is, right?
Mhm.
Are you still following what I'm saying? Or I'm making sense?
Yeah, I felt like his sexuality. A lot of people was judging his sexuality. Tasha K was, and he wears makeup. You see that, and you know he's gay. I don't go for people's
Right,
sexuality. That's another low blow. Like I don't care who you love
right.
or what you do in your bedroom.
And
That's
so
just.
basically what they
But
saying is,
some
oh,
people won't talk to you because you're gay. Some people's
mhm,
whole family judge you because you're gay. That shouldn't have been even on the table. This
right.
why is that even on the table? So
And and why isn't even why is it even perceived that way to some
mhm.
that have that is gay to come out and say, oh, well, this person did it because they're gay. Well, if I said you robbed the bank because you was gay, I'd be homophobic. I'm just saying, like, you adults do what you want to do. Now, we don't believe in the Emming
Yeah, no.
of nobody,
Mhm,
straight, gay, or not.
mhm.
But they want to make it an issue because that other shit sells in the media.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm,
You know, that's
mhm,
why they throwing that out there
mhm,
to cover up their non-receipts.
mhm.
That's just my opinion.
That's my opinion. It is what it is. So I'm kind of done talking about it, but I wanted to respond since my name was in everybody's mouth. And I did tell you guys I want to say I'll let you know how I feel. And I've seen the evidence that that we showed to you, but there's more. There's a lot more that it doesn't make good business sense to show that if you're going to sue somebody. So I just think it's all malarkey and bullshit, and I'm over it. And Tasha K, I don't like her. I don't like her at all. You don't have to be dirty to be successful. And so, that's a game she chooses to play. That's between her and her God. And I've seen this happen to, we all know another blogger that used to lie on people and had people crying. Like, oh my
Mhm.
God, she said, I gave my kid cocaine and crying. And she got it in the end. You got to live right. You got to treat people the way you want to be treated. You got to be a good person. If not, it'll pay the price and it'll have nothing to do with Sharrell. That's between you and your maker. So I try to live my life right. And I'm not stupid enough. I don't know if you guys know this. When I make connections first of all, I rather make connections with the producers and the publicists than other bloggers. But I do make friends with other bloggers. But people that I have a way of me and Perry can pick up the phone and talk to anybody we want. We don't have the reputation of don't talk to her. She's a liar. She's not a good person. Don't interview with her. We don't have that reputation because you can still do things the right way and be successful.
No, you can, but there's a such
And
thing as
I refuse to go dirty on people. I've Perry, and you know this to be true. I have not reported stories that I thought was going to hurt somebody.
right.
I
No,
won't
I
do
know
it.
this for a fact.
It's a fact. I'll stop people. I'll say you shouldn't put this story out. That's not good for you.
Hmm.
And they've come to me. No, this story will blow up. Run this story, and I'll go no.
Hmm.
So I try to have some ethics and some morals, and I care about people. I don't just use you to get where I want and toss you to the side. If I'm your friend, I'm your friend.
Hmm.
So, but I'm not hard up for cash, and maybe I don't see myself being different, but everybody's in a different situation. But I don't do people wrong. Even if you do me wrong, all those people that came on my panel or I let on my panel, and they go on to do bigger things like Gabor. People wanted something so bad to happen. No, it was time for him to grow. I could call up Gabor. I love Gabor. I'm gonna cry. I love Gabor. But people
I
just wanted to roll with some drama because
Yeah.
it sold better. Like, oh, she does people this way. No, everybody that was on my panel that's not on my panel, I could pick up the phone and say I need this, and they will give it to me.
I just talked to Gabor 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God, that was a big one, right? Like, oh, Diva doesn't come on my show a couple days. Oh, they're in a fight. Oh, somebody made this video. It was the craziest video. Like, I tell people, don't come to me with that shit. But I make sure I treat people right. You gotta be kind. You gotta treat people the right way. But I know so many bloggers say Tasha K did this to me. Tasha K did this to me. You think all these big bloggers are turning on her because she's nice? They've had personal experiences. Like I know for a fact right now, I don't care if Tasha K was drowning and you had a life floaty device in your hand. I know Larry Reid will never do anything to help Tasha K again. Never. That could have been somebody that, he's a giving guy. So, it's a hot ass mess. And to those people that experience PTSD from having the worst thing in life that could ever happen to you, I feel your pain. I'm sorry that happened to you. And I understand it. I get it. I get where you don't trust men.
Right.
I get it. You don't like
Right.
black men anymore. I get it. And I might be there too.
Right.
But I hope one day, I don't know what happens to that. I don't think it'll go away. I don't know. I'm sorry that happened. Now another topic. Let's move on to another topic that's very touchy. Is the Tyre, and this is what I came on to talk about. Because, and you guys know I'm sensitive, and I don't hide that. When I seen those police beat that man one at a time, I was disgusted. I was disgusted, and they need to face. They need what? No, just come in the chat. Just come in the chat. Just come in the chat. I'll drop the link in a minute. Oh my God, no, stop. I did not. Oh, I did mention your name. I'm sorry. I did not mention your name. I did not mention your name, but I was just saying how I felt. Jeez. Anyway, what was I talking about? Because she's distracted me. what was I talking about? Oh, Tyre. The latest victim of police brutality. Okay, so let me explain this, and I hope I explain it in a good way. So right now, Tyre's parents, her stepfather and his mother, gave an interview this morning to Good Morning America. And they're saying, why is it the white man who tased him in the beginning arrested with the other black people? And I'm going to say this in the most gentle way. Let me show you the thing first. Hold on.
Officer that was tasing my son.
Yep.
And we don't.
I downloaded the wrong version. So the person yelling, yep, I don't know. This was off Twitter, so try to ignore it.
His name was not put out. There was a white officer that was tasing my son.
Yep.
And we don't understand how come his name was not put out there or mentioned in this whole fiasco.
The media is not talking about it either. It's very
yes,
odd.
I think that there should be quite a few additional charges.
Okay, let me say this in a sensitive way, because I don't want anybody that. I think everybody should pay the price for what they did. I really do. Let me put this on the screen. And this is just my opinion. And I know tempers are high, and we all have opinions. I feel these are all black men beating this man one at a time. that white man was nowhere around. I know all the black people are gearing up on Twitter and calling for him to be arrested and put in jail. He didn't hit. And if you've seen the video, they were giving him deadly striking blows, one at a time, gang mentality. I just don't feel, and this is not a popular belief. And as you guys see, sometimes I have opinions that's not the popular belief. Don't think the white man should be in prison. I don't. But this is an unpopular opinion. People are gearing up for a protest and stuff like this. I think the right people are in jail. But let me say this about policemen as a whole, because every job, I just explained to you the things that I have to deal with as a blogger. Every job has their different issues that they have to deal with. And I feel that they deal with people lying to them all day. They're chasing the robber. They're dealing with the darker side of life, pimps, you know what I mean? Stuff like and so if that's all I see, 24 hours a day, every day, and everybody lies to me, everybody said they didn't do it, I'll develop a shield where I kind of lose my humanity. Like, I don't see the good in people anymore. I start seeing bad. And I think it's easy to do, especially if you're a corrupt person anyway, because you got corrupt police, but not all police are bad. I've never been beaten by the police, and maybe my behavior, my attitude will change if I was. But I think they need some kind of counseling or programs so they don't get too jaded. I hope this is making sense. Some officers, what happened was just uncalled for. And yeah, the public, we're upset with you, but you have to face your maker one day. You killed. Now, I want you to be, I usually don't use that word. I hope I don't get struck. You killed an innocent young man that had a lot of life in front of him. You had the mob group mentality. You were a bunch of thugs. It's never okay to take turns one at a time beating somebody till they die.
Right.
With that being said, go ahead, Perry.
Oh yeah, no, I was saying, because if this person is laying there and you kicking him, then he's not causing any problem. Arrest him like you would do. Now, but the thing is, with this white officer, I don't know. He tased him. Was he there to witness this part, this picture?
They said he was in the car.
Okay, but was the car down the road? Was he writing a report, doing something while they were apprehending somebody? I'm saying that part I don't know neither. But if he witnessed it and didn't stop it as a law enforcement officer, then he should be held accountable too.
Perry, how can one man bust up a group of 5 people?
Sharrell, I'm just saying,
beating this man to death. I don't see it. He probably was like disgusted. You don't know how he's feeling. We don't know yet.
I'm saying I don't know.
But he wasn't a part of the takedown. He was not.
Okay, I get it. Right. I know. I'm just saying they probably saying, well, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what he was doing in the car.
But you think he should have reacted?
Well,
what do you think he should have did?
I'm saying as a human being, not even if you was to walk past and see this and know these people were just, taking this guy out, maybe you should call in to get some other, other cops to come out to stop it. I'm just saying.
You had jumped in as a civilian?
Maybe not. But as a law enforcement officer, I don't know, Sharrell. I'm just trying to say that I think that it all depends. I don't know the story behind the guy sitting in the car to say whether he should.
We don't. Yeah, that's right. Because he could have been on the phone saying,
Right. He could be doing a lot of
or
things.
you know, you don't know.
Right. I'm saying I don't know.
So I just don't think until you get the full story. No,
Right. I got you. No.
that's just what I think. But I'm am not of the popular opinion, and I know this. People are gearing up to protest. They're coming out and saying he needs to be locked up with them too. You witnessed this, you did nothing about it. You don't deserve to be out on the streets anymore either. And I think they're going to get life sentences. I just have a feeling. Maybe not, but I have a feeling they're going to be in there for the rest of their lives. But the whole thing was disgusting. I haven't seen nothing like that in a minute. Well, George Floyd, it's just never easy for me to watch when I see the shit going
Right.
down.
Right.
Like
No, I
this.
agree with that.
It's just horrible, and you know, but I wanted to do this though. This is my way, you know, I just wanted to show him in happier times. Let me see.
Owning his body, like, at all. Energetic, outgoing, funny, goofy, always had a smile on his face. He could have gave him the name Cheeseburger.
My son, I know everybody say mothers say they had a good son, everybody's son is good, but my son, he actually was a good boy. My son loved me to death. And I know that was a bad word, but that's how he felt.
We know what you mean. Yes, ma'am. We love
He had my name tattooed on his arm, and that made me proud, because most kids don't put their mom's name. But he did. On a Saturday, my son would wake up. He'd go to Shelby Farms, because he liked to skateboard. That was his passion. He's been skating since he was 6 years old. That day, when he left around 3 o'clock, going to Shelby Farms to watch the sunset and take pictures.
I want Tyre to be remembered. This is a great kid. I want kids and other people to know ain't nothing wrong with being yourself. Tyre brought something out of me to make me feel like, hey, you don't have to do that. You don't have to follow a trend to be loved. You can be yourself. You can skateboard, you can ice hockey, you can do whatever that you want to do. And people will still love you.
All I know is my son was a great, great kid. He didn't deserve what he got. Now what he deserves is justice.
And just what the father said, look, and going back to that cop in that car, I just feel like this. Investigate, because at this point, we could speculate on a lot of things. Should he be? I don't know. But I'm a firm believer. I think everybody that was involved and people who could have stopped something and didn't, but was wearing the badge, should be penalized. To what point? Not just saying. But like I said, I don't know the whole thing. But anybody involved with it should be investigated, and it should be some justice.
What they did was so unnecessary. They were caught up like one at a time. And you know, I'm a firm believer in by the time you get caught doing something, you definitely have done it before. Ain't no telling what other crimes they done broke.
Yeah.
Hiding behind the title officer.
Yeah.
It was just disgusting. And, you know, my prayers go out to that family. It just made no sense. None. I had a hard time looking at it. And I'm not going to show it because that's how graphic it was that I can't even show it. It's just it's just life. But it hits me extra hard because that's a fear that I have for my boys. Shit, getting pulled over.
Yes, I don't know. And then you had mentioned about counseling.
Oh, and let me say this. They don't even know why they pulled him over. Still, they can't find any evidence as to why they pulled him over.
Yeah, see, that's some bullshit too. Yeah. I mean, but you had mentioned that counseling and stuff like that. And this is what I started to think about that. Like, I don't have an answer, but I think if you put in on one side of a coin, where whatever it is, where you only see one side, that's the side you learn to grow to know, right?
I don't understand what you're
Okay,
saying.
I'm saying this, that when we talk about the cops, when, you know, because they put their life at risk every day. But
Mhm.
once they're on this side and you constantly seeing bad,
Yeah,
my brother was in law enforcement
that's right.
and he left. He said, because I found myself changing.
Oh my God, you guys, this is a true story. Perry's brother was an officer. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
He said, I found myself changing because I see so much bad that even when he's off and whatever, and something triggers him, he's thinking of the same thing. It's like, to me, you can't be in a war zone for years and years in combat and not let that become you, right? And you know, I don't know the answer to it. Like at a certain point, I think, like I would say at the top of my head, maybe like community policing. Like if you know, you got enough cops, if one cop served a community and did, you know, things in that community, he would not only see the bad side, he would see the good side of that community too. If that makes
Right,
sense. That
right.
would sort of give it a balance. I'm just thinking outside the box a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
yeah.
we become personal. Of course, now you see somebody paying, it make you do your job better and say, well, I want to try to help this person. And you see somebody doing some crooked shit, it make you want to, you know, arrest that person too.
But they kind of have that already, because don't they have different precincts? I think they need physical,
I'm saying
psychological,
you need to be in
some
that
kind of,
community. Yeah, something.
yeah, like maybe they all have a psychologist come in and talk to people one at a time. I don't know. You're right. I don't know.
I don't
But
know neither.
once you get tainted like that and you only see the dark side of life, then you develop a shield, because you start thinking everybody's lying. You think ain't nobody good.
Right.
It's just a lot.
Mhm.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you guys today?
Good. What did you want to sound off on today?
Well, I wanted to say, first, as far as the white officer, you know, the police chief kept saying she didn't even see a reason for him to be pulled over. And then, so had he not been bogusly pulled over, he wouldn't have even needed to be tased. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And that jumped it off.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
You're
he was
saying
fighting.
that
Go ahead.
he might not did the physical act, but he's part of it. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like he was illegally pulled over. I don't know if you saw at the end. The white officer wasn't in this, but they were talking like about why this happened, and this one officer's like, oh yeah, man, he was driving on the oncoming traffic, and then he turned around and did this, and then he got into the turning lane, and that's where he stopped, and that's where we pulled him over. And all that wasn't true. You know, even like I said, the police chief said there was he did nothing um for him to get pulled over. So, you know, they pulled him over illegally. He wanted to know why he was being pulled over, which is why he was kind of like turning around, you know, saying, what did I do? What did I do? And then that's why he was kind of fighting. And then that's when he got tased. That's when he ran. You know, it was a buildup to it. So maybe he shouldn't be charged with murder, but
I don't
he
think so.
definitely should be disciplined.
And
And then, you know,
well, that's different. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm
oh no,
agreeing
no,
with you.
no.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be charged with murder. He should be disciplined. And then also at the end, when the 5 cops were beating him, I don't know if you saw, there were like 3 or 4 other officers standing around
No,
watching,
no.
and some of them have been fired, you know. And I think you guys have all heard that some of the, like, the ambulance drivers, you know, they're all first responders, but I'm going to call them the first responders, meaning medical. Some of them were fired, you know, and then also, you know, like I said, there were other officers standing around. And then, as we know, they beat him for 3 minutes,
Mm.
and then they didn't even call for help for over 20 minutes. They said it was 29 minutes before the ambulance even got there.
Could you watch that tape? I had to
It was
do this.
hard.
It
It
was
was
very
like
hard.
when he started calling for his mother,
Oh, God.
I was in tears.
Me too.
And, you know, I kept remembering his mother saying, I was close. I thought she said she was a couple blocks away, but they said she was, you know, a couple hundred yards away.
Oh
So
my
she was
gosh. I thought they
closer
said
than
blocks.
that.
You said yards?
Yeah, a couple hundred. So
This is
she
the
was
worst
closer
story.
than that, which is why he was calling, because he knew she was close. So the guilt that that woman feels, which she shouldn't, but it's good. She's scarred forever. She's scarred forever. What they did was horrible. To see them kicking him in the head and coming at him with a baton, standing him
Ugh.
up after they beat him, standing him up to punch him, and they all took turns doing that. But one thing I do think is ironic is that the cat cams that are there to help them, you know, find, you know, see crime, is what actually ended up
Helping.
helping
Mhm.
them to see what the police officers did illegally. You know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to help the police see what others are doing illegally, but it helped the others see what the police did illegally. But another thing that they said is they don't understand why the people who watched those cameras didn't step in and call a higher up to go to the scene.
This is too much. Sun Kiss sound off. It's too much.
Hello, everybody. Um,
Hey.
Hey,
hearing about this story just it broke my heart. I still just have to swallow to keep the fight back tears. I couldn't imagine and would never want to imagine his pain. I was thinking about a couple of things that was mentioned when Perry said that his brother was in law enforcement and how he had to step back from it. At the end of the day, whether we're grown or we're children, we are still a product of our environment. And I applaud his brother for having to remove himself from that so that he wouldn't be forever affected by that. Just even when we're children and whatever we go through or whatever, once we become adults, we are responsible for our actions. So even with the trauma, like you mentioned earlier about CPTSD or PTSD, even with my CPTSD or whatever, when I'm triggered, I know I have to remove myself. It's my responsibility to remove myself from a situation. So but when it comes to what the different ones now are getting on social media and say, yes, they did it, da 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 da, and making, whether it's a black or white situation or whether it's now they're saying it's black women's fault, or now they're saying, oh, it's this, that, and the other. It's a human issue. And now it breaks my heart for the mom because she has to hear this. And it's re-traumatizing her over and over and over, and she has to rewatch this footage. They're re-traumatizing the mom over and over and over. And so when I hear different ones pointing their finger and saying, oh, it's the black mom, single moms doing this to the sons, or now the white man needs to suffer, we have to look within, because it gets to where I know at one point I was looking at, because I started hating black men. So what did I have to do? I had to go and get a black therapist or male therapist or black male therapist. I had to look at myself and say, what did I do wrong? Where do I have to go? Because I started seeing motives in people. I stopped trusting humans because of all what I had. Sharrell, when you mentioned some of the things that you was dealing with people coming and try to sue you or use your name to sensationalize and all that, you dealt with some PTSD. So you had to, you had a village around you. So
Nobody's told me that before, but you are 100% right.
Yes,
You're
you
right.
have to immerse yourself around good, solid your village so that you cannot lose your love for humanity. So we have to choose better. We can't go around beating people and looking at everyone through one lens.
Oh my
So
God, you're
regardless,
touching
so
me right now. You are
yeah,
so right. That's why I love these panels.
yeah,
Keep
and it's
going.
thank you. And so the thing is, you can't go around with being a gangster with a badge because and start stepping on top of dead bodies to appear to
Oh,
be bigger. That is
mhm.
not okay. So it's not a gender thing because black women. And when I hear these black men in these on these social media panels trying to make it a black woman issue now or a white man issue, it is demonic influence, and they're drinking the Kool-Aid and
Mm.
trying to put it off on everyone. It sickens me. It is not okay. I could look and say, yes, another black man did. Oh well, it is not okay. I don't care what I experienced by the hand of black men. I don't care what anybody. It is not okay. Will I march? No. Will I do that? No. But the thing is, I will not forget the fact that I'm a human and it could happen to my siblings. Although they traumatized me, it is still not okay. I can say about my sperm donor, I still don't want that to happen to him because it's a human at the end of the day. And I digress. I feel so bad for his mom. I'm not going to support stupidity. I still have a voice in that area, but it's still not okay for someone else to lose their life over something that could have been avoided.
We
I'm
don't
sorry.
even know why. What they pull him over for?
And see that right there reinforces the point. There's still a question why. That tells
Why?
you right there that they were gangsters with a badge. If we knew, that should be the first thing we should be able to say, oh, because he was drinking, because he was doing this, he was doing
Mm-hmm.
that. The fact that we still don't even know why should let you know that it is not okay. So here we go. That takes us back to the TK and the Reid. Stay in the middle until we find out why. But nothing stands out in what's pivotal. The fact that this man is unalived over frivolous stupidity, gang-related issues. This was a gang at the end of the day. It was call a thing a thing. It was a gang-related issue over somebody that had beta backbones at the end of the day. I'm sorry, it sickens me, and my heart bleeds for the mom. Now,
Girl,
do I have?
you are talking facts today. You're
Yeah.
preaching. Amen. I mean, you are so right. And
Yeah.
you said something that really touched me. I
Mhm.
have PTSD the opposite way. So
Mhm.
you're right.
Yeah.
You are so
Mhm.
right about everything you said. And
Mhm.
just
It's just unhealed trauma from every angle, and then you have people that are spewing theirs instead of getting help. They're trying to cause more trauma on top of. So these people that are taking this and sensationalizing it, trying to make it, putting a blanket on it and making the community worse.
yeah.
This is their way of using it as a weapon because of their unhealed trauma. Instead of stepping back and say, what do I need to do? What do I? Because I could get on reopen my channel and do the same thing towards black men. Do I want to do that? No, because it's only going to make it. It's going to perpetuate it. You know.
If
So
oh,
at the end, because I have an opinion, and yes, what I'm saying, I have said it about what these black men are doing and what I won't do to perpetuate their sicknesses. However, I call a thing a thing, but it's still not going to bring him back. It's not going to take away his mom's pain. It's sick. At the end of the day, it's sick.
if I could add on to what you're saying, um, I've dated 3 cops, and then my best friend was a Chicago cop in one of the worst neighborhoods here in Inglewood, but he's SWAT now. But
Oh,
I know that like the thing with the cops in Memphis, there's a thing called internalized oppression that can happen to black cops when they work, within the police, when they work as police, because they're taught bad means black. And they may not start out that way, but through training and through all that,
you
that
know
can
what,
happen.
Jennifer? You are so right. If I keep seeing the worst in people, oh, sorry. Go ahead. You're
No,
right.
no, no, go ahead.
Yeah, you reprogram your brain. It
Right.
reprograms itself.
And if the people that you're writing with or your you know, even if you're right, let's say you're riding with a veteran cop while you're in training, and even if that veteran cop is black, but they have been on for a period of time and they've been with officers who have been white or whatever, and you know, Memphis has a lot of black neighborhoods, and they may have been taught like, oh well, we're always getting little thugs or gangbangers or so and so and so and so. So it's probably passed down, not just from the white cops, but from the black cops as well to the younger
Do you guys what
cops.
she's saying? She's talking deep. If some black people get suspicious of other black people, does that make sense? Shan, go ahead.
I would like to interject for a moment because I've been trained as law enforcement, and I have my opinion starts out being popular, but quickly turns unpopular.
Okay.
Because I feel all Black people in general have PTSD.
That's true.
I believe that.
That's true.
Yes.
At an early age. Because I feel like that because my children have grown up in the suburbs, and I feel like I've given them PTSD because of the talks that we have to have with them and the stuff we have to warn them of, just like Trayvon Martin. From the time Trayvon Martin happened until still now, when my son calls me in the middle of the night, it's an automatic jarring effect to like, oh my God, what happened? Because what? But when I watch this, I analyze it as I watch it. Now I'm going to tell you from beginning to end my thoughts, because I believe generally every officer there has something coming, albeit a write-up, losing your job, and everybody on the scene primarily would lose their job if I was in charge because somebody died. For one, the two officers that initiated the stop, if you keep listening to the video, like Sunkist was saying, how they were talking about, oh, he did this, that ain't even possible. In no intersection, no street, and y'all the only two that showed up behind all this,
right?
Jockeying he was doing on the street, that's impossible. And when they pulled him out the car, nobody's gonna ask you what I do if they did all that and you yanked them out the car. Because even me and my husband were having a debate, because when they walked up on him and yanked them out the car, I was like, that's not how they do that. That's not how that goes. And he was like, well, they had to pit maneuver him. I said, but that's still not how that goes. It's not how they teach you that. And that's what I always go to. I always go to the trainings and the teachings and what they teach you and how you're supposed to handle it. And I told my husband, it's not always a black-white thing, but it generally turns into that, because had that been a young white man, when they approached that car, they would not have initially just yanked him out the car and threw him on the ground and not told him anything. They may have yanked him out the car, but they would have explained to him, why we yanking you out this car.
But they didn't.
When they yanked that young man out the car, he said, what did I do? They never, not once until they started talking amongst each other after they done beat him almost to death, did we hear what he had done. And for me, the initial cops are going to be fired. And I don't know what their laws are in Memphis, but it's something that I would find to charge them with, because if you're going to charge these other cops with kidnapping, you essentially need to charge them with attempted kidnapping, because they were attempting to put him under arrest for something he didn't do. Or that's not, when you're committing a certain crime, there's certain things that don't happen. Like initially, if you're in a traffic offense, you are not to just be arrested on site. That's not how that happens. It's a lot of things that go down on traffic stops that citizens need to become aware of and should not be happening. Initially, when they're stopping you from running a red light, they put you in handcuffs in the back of their car. Initially, they're kidnapping you, because just for a traffic light or traffic sign, traffic signal, you can't be arrested.
So you know that for a fact. They don't arrest for traffic stops?
Not for the stuff that I just mentioned. I can only speak.
They can detain you. That's what they do at first.
But see, they can't detain you. not here, shall I say, where I've been
Oh,
trained.
where are you?
You cannot be detained for blowing a signal. There has to be a reason for you to be detained, because a traffic citation or a traffic is not even
Let,
uh,
let me
here's
ask you a
the
question. With
thing.
you being in law enforcement, can you kind of, what do you think they pulled him over for? I mean,
driving while black.
Right, exactly. Because
no,
no,
that's
that
true.
is it,
That's true.
Sharrell. That's
It's
it for
happened to
real.
me.
Because
It's happened to me. I dress because I've worked in law enforcement. I worked in uniforms and in dress clothes my primary career. Now that I'm retired, I dress in yoga pants, hoodies, and things of that nature, and I drive that way. So during the mask season of COVID, I sometimes when you get in the car, you know your mask still on and you're driving. So I'm driving, black hoodie, black woman. I have a wrap around my head because I have my hair pulled back, but I got a wrap on my head, and I have on a mask, and I have on a black hoodie, and I'm driving a nice car. So I get pulled over. So when he pulled me over, I asked, "Why you pulled me over?" He said, "Because you were speeding." I said, "No, I had on my turn signal. You saw the guy coming from behind me. He was pulling up on me at a fast rate. So instead of letting him plow into me, I stepped on the gas, got over, and he said, 'Yeah, I saw that.' Okay, so why didn't you go after that man?" And he said, "You were the lead car." I said, "No, I wasn't, because I was getting out the way." So when I took it to court and beat it, didn't pay a dime, of course, because I explained the same situation in the courtroom, and I said, if we need to, we can pull the body cam. And
That's so weird how we do have PTSD. I used to drive a Mercedes Benz. I would get, Perry, you remember this, especially you, Perry. We
Yeah.
would get pulled over. I went and got what's the name of my car? Chevrolet now, because I realized like you can't drive
your
a
car
nice
is too
car and be black.
flashy and you're black. Well, it's funny that, wait, I didn't hear your name, the young lady that was just speaking.
Shan.
Jan. Okay, how you were talking about being pulled over, that reminded me of something that happened, and I was 5 or 6. I'll be 50 in May. I was in the car with my uncle who had just gotten a Trans Am, a T-top red Trans Am, and he was driving, and there was another car driving, wanting to race him, and my uncle wouldn't race because I was in the car, and he got pulled over.
I think
The
we all
the
have
other
our
guy did
stories.
not, and
I
I
think you
will.
were right. Black people have PTSD.
I was 5, and I will never forget that. And then another situation that happened, and this didn't even involve me. I wasn't in the car, but my oldest brother, he is the nicest person. I mean, he's the most thoughtful. He's so quiet. But he was driving home from his second job at night, and he was at a stoplight making a left. Now, my brother has always had nice cars. He takes pride in his cars. And the police pulled him over when he was making a left turn and said he looked like someone they were looking for.
We've heard
They
that so
pulled,
many
now, my
times.
brother is 13 years older than me. So I would say at this time he had to be about 50. No, a little younger, but either way, they pulled him over. They got him out of the car, laid him on his stomach on the pavement, and searched his car with dogs for nothing.
Shan, I cut you off.
yeah, I was in the middle of saying,
I did. I'm sorry. You were touching me. Go
I
ahead.
probably did that. I'm sorry.
it's okay. I was in the middle of saying, I was at the part where the cops pull him over. That should have been handled differently. And in the beginning, when I first watched CNN, the day they were charged, I saw something kinship charged to kidnapping. And that's why I said the initial cops, if that's what we're going with, they need to charge them with something kin to kidnapping as well. And then
Accessory.
also, they described the wrong guy. I don't know if anybody ever paid attention to the fact that the one guy said, we're looking for a bald guy, and this guy isn't bald. So when I saw him, I was about to let him keep going. And then for me, I think the main issue that everybody is missing, whether these cops are black, blue, white, green, police is the issue. It's not
a
the
color thing.
race of the police. It's the police thing.
Yep.
Because
Right.
what mostly all police officers have in common is this thing. And regardless to whether it's taught or you see it and want it, it's this power thing where they're supposed to detain and take you in, where they feel like they're supposed to catch you, arrest you, and punish you right there all in one. And that's not their job. Their job is to detain you, let you go to court, and let them sort it out.
Now,
If you've
Shan,
done your thing.
you said you worked in law enforcement, right?
Yes, over years.
I know that, like, and just in some of the TV interviews, and then also speaking with, like, not only my friend and some of his friends and a couple of my exes, I was like, this is after the George Floyd and Trayvon, all the things, but I said, well, why is it that some cops, when someone runs from them, they do beat them? And they said that some of the cops, it's an ego thing. Like, oh, no, you didn't run from me. I'm the law.
You didn't hear them? They were saying that you didn't hear. I mean, see, I turned everything down and I listened more than I watched, because every time I watched, I was going, ooh, ooh. So I couldn't watch it.
Right.
But I listened. And I listened. They were saying, you ran, I was running, I was doing this, you had me. You got to listen to what they saying. And if you can listen, I worked, part of my career was in detainment as well. So I listen to each individual. I'm not just listening to the noise. I'm listening to everybody. So everybody, the one that ran up with the stick, whipped out his nightstick.
Yeah.
I believe he may be one of the initial guys, because he had more to say. He was doing a lot of talking. So you got to listen to what they're saying. The one talking about, oh, you made me pepper spray myself, listen to them all. They all were talking about that. And that's why I say what you said about police and the ego thing, that's true. I've heard and seen a lot of times where if somebody made someone run, they're like, oh, you made me run.
Right.
Now, but that's your job. A lot of people in these positions do not need them. And I don't know how you weed them out, but I've worked with a couple individuals. And I also wanted to touch on the fact of where Perry was saying about how, or it might have been Sharrell, about how do you, like, it's hard to separate it once you are in that space. And there's help out there they offer a lot of services for people that need that help for separation, but it's hard. That's why people are not still saying the fact that cops are generally the highest domestic abusers around.
Oh yeah.
And
Wow.
there's help out there for that, and it's all about separating it. But because I grew up in Detroit and my family was not the most cleanest people, I kind of would deal with everyone on the level of, if this was somebody I knew or my brother or my cousin, how would I
humanize them?
And I work with a lot of people that did not do that. And therefore, I didn't really get in a lot of these situations. And people would call me into situations to de-escalate, because I'm very good at de-escalating, because I know how to say, hey, man, this ain't what we want to do, and I literally put myself in the position. And when we got to that car and they pulled him and he was on the ground, I'd be like, yo, chill, stop doing this. We're going to tell you, just give us a second. Let us get it all together. Because he reminded me of someone I knew who was not going to say he had any mental issues, but he wasn't he didn't know how to deal with this situation. And you would have to explain that. Now, if he was of the Caucasian persuasion, I believe we would have been, hey man, but that's for everybody. And everybody doesn't see, like you were saying earlier, that black is bad. It's not necessarily that black is bad. It's just what we deal with a lot. Working where I worked in Detroit, we dealt with more black than we did anything else. But we did encounter those other people who came to Detroit to do what they did. And I'm going to treat them just like I would treat you if you were the little black guy down the street. I'm going to treat you the same way. It's not a difference for me, but for me, I'm a different type of person because I think being a 70s baby and growing up in that, where I grew up, is different from most of the cops on the streets now are either 80s, 90s generation, and they don't understand that it wasn't always like this. And there are people too, they just grew up in the era where there was all this bad. Because when we grew up, we used to sleep on the porch. You can't do that anymore.
No, you cannot.
Well, you know what's funny? Well, I do want to real quick, Perry, you were saying how your brother left the force.
Yeah.
One of my ex-boyfriends, he after the whole George Floyd thing, he was close to retirement, and he retired at 50 because he couldn't take what was happening with the police across the nation. Like, he spoke out about police brutality all the time. Like, you would see it on Instagram and wherever he posted, Facebook, Instagram. He talked about prosecuting the cops with Breonna Taylor and the whole Ahmaud Arbery thing and all that. Like, that's one thing I loved about him and still love about him. He never held his tongue. But after a while, he said he felt like a hypocrite working in this profession, especially as a black man, where his colleagues find it okay to, whether his colleagues are black or white, to take a person that's black and feel like it's okay to treat them differently, beat them down like a dog. But then if there's a white or other serial killer, like that guy in or mass shooter, like that guy in North Carolina, they took him to Burger King before they took him to the jail. Like, how did he survive alive? He had just shot down people in the church. But this guy, he shouldn't have even been pulled over, and he didn't come out alive.
It's just
and also notice this another thing that I did not notice and still didn't, even after they were standing there. Who's the officer in charge on the scene?
Right.
There was no, even at the stop, I couldn't tell which of the two officers, because there was a black cop and a white cop, who was the senior officer, who was in charge. Exactly. And then that's where they were beating him up. Who was the officer in charge? And see, that, I think that lends something to that police force, because there's no way, as the time frame, an officer in charge should have been, or a sergeant, lieutenant, whoever was in charge that day, should have been on the scene with.
So every time they go out, they have an officer in charge. How does that work?
There's not, but it usually goes by seniority. And then at the beginning of the shift, if something happens, we've already determined who goes to the scene of anything. Because when you have something like a runner, an officer in charge should have been en route at that moment, because somebody has to either call off that chase or something. That's why I noticed that when they pulled up the pole camera, it was pointed down the street and then it turned towards them. Like, I heard somebody say, like, whoever was watching the cameras. That's also another thing. Whoever was watching those cameras, they were supposed to be
letting someone
else, hey, they're beating this dude up. They were supposed to be doing that. That was their job, but they were doing that police thing where they
Right.
were protecting each other. But it's like, I don't understand why people don't realize video is like, but see, and this was my unpopular opinion. How do I say this?
You have an unpopular opinion because everything you said
Yeah.
has been on point.
I believe they're overcharging them.
Oh yeah, that's unpopular. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you
Even
think
with
they
the
should get?
5 with murder?
No, not murder. It's just the particular charge. Like I said, I'm a detail-oriented person, and they actually read the charge on CNN. And it says that they were trying to kill him. I don't believe they were trying to kill him. I believe they were trying to beat his butt.
They
Subconsciously,
said, I thought that I heard them say that it wasn't even that they were trying to kill him. They knew that their actions could have caused bodily harm to the point it could have
But the
caused death.
statute that they read on CNN from the second-degree murder charge says something, I can't remember the exact words, but it says something like they were knowingly trying to unalive him.
Oh,
So
okay.
all right,
if
guys.
you're-
Listen, I gotta end this here because I forgot I'm on a time schedule and we've been here
I'm
hour and
sorry.
a half.
Can I
But
say one thing to Shannon? That is when you were saying that one officer said you got me maced or you made me mace myself.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was the same officer, but I was not sure. So I'm glad that you cleared that up.
this is a horrible
So thank you.
situation.
But
Horrible.
I'm gonna say this.
It's awful.
I'm gonna say this, Sharrell. That's why I say it's a human thing. I think this is why I said, because like with Breonna Taylor, she was saving lives. She was an EMT, and yet different ones were saying, well, these bloggers were saying, well, she should have chose better. But with George Floyd, he caused someone to lose her baby out of fear when they broke into her house, and he was buried amongst potentates. See, it's people taking they're sensationalizing it.
Picking
And the
and
thing is,
choosing.
I'm sorry?
Picking and choosing.
Picking and choosing. And instead of doing that, looking at the fact that someone said, oh, I'm mad because you made me wrong. You made me tase myself. It's all about having empathy and being a human, doing your job the way that you were trained to. And these people, none of them, whether it was George, Breonna, this young man, Tyre, none of them should have, it was all over frivolous. They were not doing with the way that they were trained. These all, regardless of what color these cops were, they were gangsters with a badge.
Right.
Across the board.
Well, I gotta wrap this up because I gotta go. But you know what? We will talk about this again because it's gonna start. People are gonna start protesting, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I'm gonna follow this case like a hawk.
Please do.
Oh yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah, thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Thanks for talking about this, Sharrell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta stay on it. It's the
All
Bro
right.
Folks channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
The
right.
People's Channel.
All
That's
right.
right.
Take
All
care,
right.
guys.
Bye-bye. Happy
All right, take
Sunday.
care.
Sorry, Perry. That went way over. You guys, please don't forget to like this video. This is such a I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately. But I'm sure we'll talk about it again. Go to Twitter, you guys. They are going in on Twitter. It sounds like it's gonna be a big protest. Oops, I wasn't supposed to say that word. And it's a mess. So we'll see you guys on Monday at our scheduled time. On 3, Perry, let's say bye. 1, 2, 3. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Have a nice